And welcome to the 42nd episode of the Little Thespian Podcast. On today's episode, we have the amazing Aly Slomisnki and Adrian Saldanha and the Penumbra Theatre. So, everyone, we are back. We are back in full swing to some extent, but we are back to talk all things Be More Chill, musical theater, and much, much more with these amazing guests. And I am so thrilled to be back, guys, to just talk all things theater. It's always great, and on a day that now, they've had a tentative deal now with ACTRA. So it's good to kind of be back. And I hope many people are now getting their jobs back very soon. So that's a great thing to hear. But we are back, guys. We are back with the Little Thespian Podcast. So first of all, hello, guys. How are you guys today? You guys doing well?
Yeah, we're doing.
That's exactly right.
We're heading into Tech Week on Saturday, so we're stressed.
We're calm. We're collected. We're in control. There's no fires. Everything is going according to plan.
That's great to hear, and especially this is one of those weeks that they call Hell Week, right? But it's all good. Eventually you get out of hell, right? You're good. Eventually you get to the opening night. You're fine.
It's a purgatory week, really, because it's like we're supposed to leave hell at a certain moment. So yeah,
exactly. You'll get to purgatory soon. You're good. You're fine. But guys, so you guys are putting on Be More Chill between October 4th and October 7th. It's going to be a crazy time. If you guys have not seen Be More Chill, we're going to be talking a lot about it. So if you guys haven't listened to it, or if you guys haven't seen it, well, the perfect time is to go on October 4th, 6th, or 7th. And if you guys want to hit a matinee, it's on the 7th at 2 p.m. So if you guys want to hit that Mosaic Hall on McGill. So guys, definitely go check that out. McGill Metro Station, that is. You can get off there, and it's not too far. You guys can hit it there. So yeah. So my first question has to do with the company name itself. So it's definitely something that I've yet to hear before you guys announced it. So Penumbra, where did that come from?
I'll let you take this because it was Adrian's idea.
Cool.
That was his.
All right. So when Aly and I were spitballing on starting up this production company, we tackled issues of coming up with a name that would really represent what we're going for in our production choices. And I recommended Penumbra Theatre as a possible option. And one of the reasons why, so for people who don't know what penumbra means, it refers to the shadow that is cast by, that eclipse effect where it's almost a full shadow, but there's this ring of light around that shadow. And the reason why I thought that would be an appropriate name for us is twofold. One, the penumbra lighting effect kind of creates a cool stage effect, and so it refers to all things stage and theater, which was nice. But on a more meaningful level, at least for me, is that it refers to the light around the darkness. And that's something that we really all are exploring in our production of Be More Chill, which is like, it's such a bright musical. It's so poppy, and like it pops at you with color in either like the singing or the choreography or
The
even like the design. Like it screams a need for color, but at its heart, this musical really is like about self-identity, depression, the struggle of learning who you are in the internet age, where you can get the answer for everything from like anyone at a moment's notice, so you don't have to discover. And so we're really like, so this is a really roundabout way of saying it's like, I really like the idea of the penumbra because of that contrast between the light and the dark.
Wow. Yeah, no, because I remember hearing it about in theater terms, about the effect that penumbra gives, but I didn't think about it in that way too. But it is definitely something that I think many more theaters should be thinking about, is just the name of your company. I find that some theaters, they kind of just go with what seems convenient or what sounds good for the one production, but this can definitely play off to many more musicals, right? There's so many musicals that seem light and bright, but really have a dark meaning to them at some points, right? But I am
And it's that contrast that really like brings it out too, right? It's like I was, in fact, I was watching a video about this recently, but in like when you're looking at an eclipse, the light that comes from the penumbra effect is actually brighter than when there is no shadowing effect at all. So that contrast does actually enhance the brightness and the juxtaposition just by being there. So,
and it's also good too. Oh, sorry, Aly, go ahead.
No, I was also just gonna say, like, it is fitting for this particular show, but it also, we chose it because of our mandate as well as a company.
That's true. This is a good second reason why we went.
It was actually the main reason, and then just happened to fit Be More Chill.
Yeah.
We just, there's so much talent in Montreal, especially when it comes to musical theater, and it sometimes feels like this talent is overlooked for talent that comes from elsewhere. And so part of our mandate is to give a platform to Montreal local emerging artists to hone their craft, to learn, and to get some professional-ish experience. It's like to be a stepping stone between like maybe school or community theater and professional theater.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say very much the same thing in regards to giving that Montreal crowd, that light on here, as you know, right? I always shine a light at the end of the show, and it's basically stuff like that, right? It's something to kind of just embrace the amazing work that is done, not just here in Montreal, but in general, right? But for sure, I love that mandate of just giving the talented musical theater artists and just artists in general that platform, is definitely something that is great, and I'm so happy that you guys are doing that. So great job, and I cannot wait to see what Be More Chill has in store with all the lighting and craziness that is going to be in store for us. And I hope you guys are excited. You guys need to jump into Be More Chill. Like I said, it's coming October 4th to 7th, guys. So if you guys have not yet got your tickets, do so. It's going to be in the description down below. Or you guys can go and check out the Instagram of Penumbra Theatre. It is there. Click it, get on it, get to it. All right, guys. So let's hop into Be More Chill now. So first things first, Be More Chill is a not so regular musical. It is a cult following type musical. And the musical genre is something that some people may not know. But my first question in regards to Be More Chill is, first of all, Be More Chill is this crazy story. So for those that don't know Be More Chill, without spoiling anything, what exactly is the story of Be More Chill? And why do you think it's important in the time now? I know you guys touched on it, but
You should take this one.
All right. I didn't want to. I don't
like raring. I saw him. He's like shaking with excitement. I want to answer this. Okay. Go for it.
The musical is based on the 2004 novel by Ned Vizzini, under the same name, Be More Chill. And in the novel, it explores the story of a high schooler named Jeremy here, who is a pretty typical unpopular kid at high school with a lot of angst on being able to fit in and, well, his complete failure to fit in while also crushing after a girl. Until one day, one of his bullies has a complete change of heart towards him and points out that like there's actually a supercomputer that he can swallow as like in a pill-sized format. And that supercomputer will plant itself in his brain and speak to him and tell him how to act in high school and how to be, chill and integrate successfully into the high school social circle. So that is the premise of the novel. And the novel is really like dark, gritty, kind of gross at times. And it really focuses on the mental health issues of trying to fit in and ignoring your own voice when it comes to discovering your identity. And so 10 years later, in 2015, it was adapted as a musical in New Jersey and then eventually on Broadway. And it was a complete transformation. Like the premise was still very much the same, but as I was alluding to earlier in our pre-show ramblings, it was very bright. It was very colorful. It was like the songs just popped at you, and it was so charming, and it like had a lot of fun to it. And in doing so, a lot of those darker themes were a little suppressed, just like pushed down to focus a little bit more on, how fun of a story this could have been as a musical on the stage, where it's not just from one high schooler's point of view, but from everyone's point of view. And then, the story about Be More Chill is unpopular kid gets supercomputer in brain and shenanigans unfold. That is the story in a nutshell.
See, that's the thing though. It becomes like, when you think about it in a premise of a musical, right? When you hear supercomputer and brain, if you guys are not already intrigued by that concept, it's kind of that weird type of musical, you know what I mean? Where you're like, what? Wait, did he just say supercomputer inside my brain? What?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
People are surprised when I tell them that it's a sci-fi musical, because they don't like. I think when people hear musical, they think like Phantom or Les Mis or like Rodgers and Hammerstein, and they don't think that musicals can be like horror, like Carrie or Rocky Horror, or sci-fi like Be More Chill or even Little Shop. I don't think they see musicals as like cross genres. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Musicals have a bit of a rap of, being all Les Mis or being all Rent or being all Phantom, that like there is this, sub variety of musicals that's really a lot of fun when you get to actually play around with and bring it on stage. And boy, has this been a lot of fun. It's been fantastic working with this cast.
And I did want...
Sorry, Aly, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to also just touch on what Adrian had said about the source material. And like a lot of that is still in the musical, but it is buried. And I think we're drawing a lot of inspiration from the novel as well, and kind of trying to merge the best parts of both.
Yeah. Because our mandate in Penumbra is to merge the light with the dark. So we're bridging the gap between, the dark and angsty 2004 novel with the bright, synthy and poppy 2015 show. And honestly, one of the things that I've kept hammering on this cast is like the more seriously you take yourself, the funnier it ends up being. So
I think that's just
yeah.
advice for comedy in general.
Yeah, though that's the thing, right? The more serious it becomes, the funnier we see it because you're taking everything seriously, and we're not taking you seriously, right? And I mean that was the thing I was about to touch on. The fact that like you guys have such a stellar cast in this. If you guys have not seen the cast, here's the cast. The amazing Dylan Stanley will be doing Jeremy here. Now, of course, I've known Dylan for several years because of him being at John Abbott. He's a John Abbott alum, as well as Theo. Theo has actually been on the podcast before, guys, many, many moons ago, as well as Mike. So you guys should definitely go and check out some of these episodes that I'm just flashing on the side here. But you guys have a stellar cast here. And the music in this, of course, like you said, very sci-fi, very over the top, but very fast pace. This is a musical that Jeremy speaks so quickly, and I mean so quickly, in like a very, very fast motion. And I guess my thing is, you guys have been saying that you guys have been having a blast making this thing, but now as you guys get closer to the production, how are you guys now, after doing a bit of all the tentative work? How are you guys feeling so close to this? Are you guys doing well? Are you guys happy that it is about to be done? Or are you guys wanting more? Is there are you guys really at that point where you're like, you know what, let's just get this done? Or is it more of a, you know what, let's let's wait another couple of weeks? Is it at that point?
Well, I think Adrian and I feel very differently.
Like, why do you have two people on for this? You really should have been one or the other.
I personally, I'm excited to see it go up, and I'm a little sad that will close so soon, because we originally had a 2-week run planned, but because our original venue closed, and they recently reopened, but it was like a little too late given the time frame. So we only have 4 performances, and I'm a little sad that's going to be over so soon. And I'm already thinking, what are we going to do next? But I don't think Adrian's at that point.
As a director of the show, I'm still very much like mentally in this, and it's like thinking about the future is very hard for me because I've grown so attached to this project, to the storytelling that this cast has been doing, and even like the whole production team, that like to think that in less than 2 weeks it's all over and we go our separate ways. It's emotional for me, and it's hard to think, like, even when people ask me like, so what's next after Be More Chill, just like, I don't know if there's going to be a musical that's as good as Be More Chill. Hopefully there will be, but like, I really believe so 100% in the project that we're doing right now that it's hard for me to think about the future. So hit me up in 2 weeks, and I'll be forcing myself to see the brighter side of life, going like, yeah, I guess this musical could also be fun. But yeah,
that's the thing, right? In theater, we make these little families, and then we say goodbye so soon after. It's kind of sad in that way. But then you make a new one, and we continue through it. But it's very good to see the passion is there, right? I always say our business is a business of passion. If you don't have passion for the business, you wouldn't be in it, especially theater, right?
It's been so much work, and if you don't like doing this, like, I don't see how anyone could do this if he didn't like it.
At least like for the directing and producing of the show, this has been a full-time job for I don't want to say zero pay, because zero pay implies that we're not losing money. So it's been for negative pay.
But that's the thing, right? Like, it's usually that thing about passion, because if not, most of the time in theater you don't get paid for it, right? Or if you do, chances are high like there's other things that are happening for it, or things are going on, right? So it doesn't end up usually paying off in a lucrative way. But my question to piggyback off of that is, if someone was going into directing, if someone was going into acting or stuff like this, what would be your words of wisdom for these people, especially now as you get closer to Be More Chill coming out? I know this is always a big one. This is always a big one.
I'm trying to think about a way to phrase this that doesn't say like, "Have you tried accounting?" Or instead, it's
No.
it's like there's got to be a positivity here.
So I don't, because like I always heard the advice when I was in acting school that like if you're good at anything else, do that, because like acting's really hard, which I think is really shitty advice, honestly. And kind of like discouraging.
It's a lot of negativity that's like, and I get where it's coming from, because like we're living it right now, and it's not helpful. It's not helpful to give into that, like, look, it's not worth it, don't do it. It's like, well, it's been 100% worth it. Like this has been a full-time job that we don't get paid for, but like having seen, like we just had Sits Probe last week and it was magical. It was honestly such a magical experience with like our musical director and the whole band, and they had a theremin and a vocoder integrated into the cast of singing, and it's like, this is phenomenal. This was worth any amount of effort that we've been putting into it. So like I get where the bitterness comes from when you like hear this from, professors who work in like the theater departments that have just been ground down with like the struggles of time. But I guess perseverance and like really be sure that you are loving every aspect of it, because if you don't fundamentally love it and you're hating the process, definitely do something else. Do something else, because you will be more cherished for your work elsewhere. Sorry, I completely steamrolled you, Aly. Please continue.
No, that was pretty much what I was going to say. Just if it doesn't make you happy, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Really find the sparks of joy in there in the process, because it's really the only thing that's going to keep you going.
Mm-hmm. And especially like in such a business that they say is very hard to get into. It's something that, passion can kind of either make it work a lot or not make it work at all, right? And also the people that kind of end up just being that person that turns you away from it, right? There are many directors, producers, and things that don't have the passion for it and just are there for the money or there for something else, right? And you don't want to be that type of person either. So if you don't like it, don't stay in it, especially theater. With film, TV, sometimes, I mean, it's under the same umbrella, guys, but especially theater, it's like that. So
we had this meeting very early on, in this specific production, where we did stress that, like, while it is important to us that this be a phenomenal show and that it be, we put out, I hate this word, a great product for audiences to come see, it's not the most important thing for us. That's the second most important thing for us. The most important thing for us is everyone who is working on this project, because no one is being paid anywhere close to what they're worth. It has to be a wonderful experience for them. Like, they have to, like, it's the most important thing is that they leave our production of Be More Chill feeling like that was incredible. That was such a good environment to work in. That was worth the time that I put in, because people, time is money, and people are giving so much of their time in this project, and they are worth more than what we are able to give. So at the very least, the most important thing is that they love the experience
and are proud of their work.
Yeah,
because everyone's doing really great work.
Yeah, and I think we're succeeding in that front. So,
and that's amazing to hear, especially from the directors of the piece. You unfortunately don't hear that enough from the directors, which is why I'm so glad to have you guys on here. So anyone who is watching that is part of the Be More Chill team, and before I come see the show, thank you guys for your amazing work. And I am beyond so happy to hear that. it truly is something that, you know, they don't get their flowers enough, especially people behind the scenes. And you know, this is the amazing production crew. By the way, I'm gonna give them flowers as well. So that's the thing, right? They don't get enough credit, and they really should. So, I completely understand that. And you know, it's something that I think more people should do. More people should be giving their flowers to the people that like them, to the people that make us heard, make us seen costume wise as well. These are things that, you know, it's important. It's important to do so. So, yeah. With that being said, and musicals, let's hop into the magical musical part of this podcast. So I have touched this before in Aly's episode many moons ago about your guys' favorite musicals.
Mm.
So,
Adrian's, but
oh, if you guys had a favorite musical, who's to say? It might be more chill now. But I guess we'll see. But if you guys had a couple of musicals that are not Be More Chill, what would be the ones that come to mind? Um, who knows? Maybe down the road. But who's to say? What would be your favorite musicals as of right now?
you want to go first?
All right. So first of all, for anyone who has listened to the other podcast that we were in, I apologize to everyone who loves Rent in the world, and
You know what it's
I have nothing else to say about that. I love Be More Chill. I think honestly, Be More Chill it is my favorite musical and will probably continue to be my favorite musical for a long time to come. Beyond Be More Chill, even though this has never actually gone up on Broadway, I love the cast recording of the Death Note musical that has gone up in, you know, Japan and South Korea, but just hasn't gone up in, you know.
There's a concert in the UK right now.
Yeah.
A concert version of it in the UK.
But God, I love the music and the performances that I was able to see online for the Japanese version was really something special. So I think I'm going to answer with that. Just as a full disclosure, my background isn't really in musicals. I came to musicals very late in life, and that's because of this one. So I'm going to cede the floor to Aly for this question.
I mean, I also really love Death Note. Yeah, if you haven't listened to it, the cast, like the concept album is up on YouTube.
Chef kiss.
It's so good. But I think aside from Be More Chill, my favorite musical is Little Shop of Horrors. I love the film with like Rick Moranis and everyone. I couldn't remember anyone else's names.
Yeah, there's only one person in the film. It's
just
fine.
Rick Moranis.
He does all the parts.
No, I love, yeah, exactly. It's everyone. I loved the movie, and then I got to see it on Broadway. And I know it's like they've been doing a lot of stunt casting, and some of the casts have been hit and miss with the most recent revival of it. But like, I loved it. I thought it was so funny, but so heartwarming too. Like it's similar to Be More Chill in that way, where it's a very fun musical and there are lots of bright moments, but in between there's a lot of, you know, humanity. And I'm really drawn to stories that can make me laugh and then 10 seconds later have me crying my eyes out.
That's the thing. It's a very cathartic experience when you go to the theater, guys. And I can attest to this. Be More Chill will have you laughing and crying, potentially, hopefully. But it should be having you laugh for sure. Crying, definitely come the end. Especially with the Dylan's amazing work. I've heard him sing before, and I cannot wait to see him sing in this rendition of Be More Chill. But yeah, definitely great picks. I need to definitely check out Death Note if you guys have not checked that out. The link will be down below with that cast recording, or the concept rather. Um, and you actually alluded to something, Adrian. I was actually about to talk about, how you guys got into musicals, how you guys got into theater, how you guys got to all this stuff. Because, it's been a couple of moons, like I've been saying, since I've heard your story, Aly. But how'd you guys get into the arts?
Oh, into the
You
art.
should start this
Sure.
one. I do a lot of the initial talking.
Yeah,
so.
I'll start with this one. So I got into musicals. I mean, I've always kind of liked musicals. My mom had the original cast recording for the West End Phantom of the Opera, and I would just listen to that on repeat in my bedroom. It was like a 2-disc thing. So I think like that kind of was the gateway musical for me. And then I kind of just kept listening to all these cast recordings. But I didn't actually, I think the last time we spoke, I had said that I had never actually been in a musical. Like I had taken some voice classes, I had done like abridged versions of musicals as part of like a music school, but I'd never been in a full musical. And my goal for the next year was to hopefully book a musical, and I booked 2. So I was very excited about that. So yeah, I've always liked musicals. I think I never had the courage to actually pursue it until the pandemic hit and I had, time to really like sit and hone in my music skills a little more. But yeah, theater, I started doing theater when I was 17 and I just haven't stopped. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. I remember that story now as you speak, and it was something that I remember you saying on the podcast that there was many things you wanted to do when it came to musical theater, and it's amazing to hear, especially after Carrie. And of course, after Rocky Horror Picture Show, these are 2 big musicals, guys. And I'm very proud that you did that, especially in regards to a time where there's not much that was happening. Right? Carrie, you guys literally had to have masks on while singing, which
Yeah.
phenomenal, how it sounded. But crazy, right? Crazy times. But I'm so glad that passion resparked, and that love for singing and the theater came out, especially in a time where we didn't know if we were even able to do it, let alone doing it, right? So it was good to it's good to hear that. And yeah, I mean, I love Phantom. So I completely get that. I completely get where the spark came from.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
But
it slaps for sure. The song's
yeah, how about you, Adrian? Well, how did you get into the arts? I mean, was it in regards to Aly that kind of sparked, or?
So the last time I answered this question, I got into a lot of trouble. So I'm going to be very careful with how I respond this time.
Oh, where is it?
I do have a background more in film than in theater, and certainly not musical theater. In fact, I could go as far to say that for the first 30 years of my life, I actively disliked musical theater. In fact, that was like one of the earliest talking points between me and Aly when we started going out together. But what changed all that was actually Aly's performance in Carrie when I got to go see it. And honestly, like I wasn't expecting too much because again, active dislike of musical theater. And I walked in, sat down, with my mask on because the pandemic was like
full swing.
Full swing. And I was enchanted. Like I was just like blown away from the talent of Aly and the rest of her castmates. That included Dylan and Mike, who are now cast in Be More Chill.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I just loved the talent and passion that they brought to the storytelling behind this. And even with like all the production issues that Carrie had, because it was a show that was done in full swing pandemic mode, it was still enchanting. I loved every minute of it. And then coming out of it, it was like listening to cast talk about like, oh, well, not a whole lot of other options for us to keep doing this. And I thought like, but what if there were? What if there were other ways to keep doing this? And so Aly and I started talking about like, hey, how feasible is it to just like put on a show and start a company? And it looks like it is feasible. So that's the good news. It's totally feasible, and we're doing it. And that's how I got into musical theater.
Wow. And that's the thing, it's usually that one spark, that one time you go see a show that just hits you. But that is incredible, especially, it's good to hear how musicals came into life, and now you're wanting to help out others. It's always a great thing to hear, especially in something like theater, where sometimes it can be very cutthroat, or sometimes it can be very close to one another. It can be very it's a big community, but a very community that's pretty small when it comes to.
It's like it both feels big, and then the moment you start actually looking at it, it's like, wait a minute, it's the same 100 people.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think like there's room for everyone. Like this competition and like the cutthroat aspects of the industry never made sense to me, because in a world where like you can like film your own stuff on your phone and post it, like it doesn't make sense why there would be that sort of competition between people, because you can always just do your own thing. And we don't vibe with that. There's no cutthroating here, throat cutting, whatever.
Very graphic.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. We were talking about Carrie. It's fine. It's a horror musical. You're good.
Yeah.
But no, I completely get that. It's true, right? There should never really be competition in this, because everyone wants everyone to succeed. I would go to say, in regards to most of the theater group, it's a very group oriented thing. You're gonna want everyone to succeed in this. So. And with anything in acting, really, right? Unless you're filming it yourself, you're depending on other people. So if you guys are watching this and you guys are very prima donna, stop that now. Stop the cutthroating. For the love of God, please. Just don't. Just stop here. And unfortunately, we only have 2 questions remaining, guys. I wish there was a lot more time. I really do, because this has been a lovely return episode. And I guess we alluded to it, but I would assume that you guys are only going to be sticking to musicals in regards to Penumbra Theatre. You guys are not going to be touching any regular plays, right?
I don't know. I don't want to say no. I think like our next few projects are musical related, but I don't think we're close to doing straight plays.
I'm a fan of straight plays, honestly. Like I do really enjoy working on this musical. And like, I don't want to ever be closed off to never doing another musical again, but I'm certainly not closed off to working on straight plays, because straight plays can be a lot of fun too. And honestly, it would be a faster process. Definitely too. It would be easier to like pump a few of those out. Like a musical, we would never be able to do 2 musicals in a year. Like with the amount of work and resources that's required, unless we have like significant grant funding, which we do not have. 1 a year is the whereas like a straight play is like, churn these out. Anyway, so to answer your question, no, we're absolutely open to doing straight plays.
Awesome. Well, glad to hear that too. So if you guys have any suggestions or things, feel free to put them in the comments. There's a bunch of plays that can definitely go with the mandate that Penumbra has. So great to hear that. And of course, our final question, which is a hard one, but kind of also a 2-parter. When people leave Be More Chill, when they leave the production, right? what do you guys want them to feel for you, the entire cast and crew, and as well as the what's to come for Penumbra Theatre?
What do we hope that the audience leaves with?
Yes.
Boredom, ennui,
I hope none of that.
maybe revulsion, like a little bit of hatred, you know?
I mean, I hope that people see this musical and realize that there's more to musicals than they probably think. Like, my hope is we can draw in some people who might not think they like musicals. Like Adrian thought he didn't like the musicals, and then, you know, saw a musical and was like, oh, actually, there might be a musical out there for me.
Absolutely. I think that's just so. I think it's a two-part answer. The first part is exactly what Aly said. Like, there are I would bet money that there's a significant amount of people out there who will think musicals aren't for me, and I'm not into it. And we're really hoping to bring those people in and going like, oh my God, that was incredible. I love that so much. Do I like musicals? And the answer will be like, it depends, you know, but like, at least they won't be as closed off as I had spent 3 decades being closed off towards. And I think that's kind of something that we hope people feel for every musical production we ever put on in this city. And the second thing that's more specific to this production that we're doing of Be More Chill is that I hope that people come out of it feeling seen and not alone, because it is, and this will loop back to the story and to what the cast is bringing to this production of Be More Chill, is there is a lot of insecurity that is part of our development process when we're in high school and university and in our 20s and 30s, but you know, and
forever.
It's embracing those insecurities, shining a light on them, and showing people that like, you're not alone. You're not alone having gone through this. It is a universal experience that we all go through at, you know, different levels at different stages. And I think that this wonderful cast that we're working with has really incorporated their own experiences with insecurity into their characters' insecurities. And it really is like, it's funny, sure, but it's also incredibly touching, and it feels real what they're bringing onto the stage, even if it is a comedy. And I really hope that audiences come in and, you know, they see themselves and they feel less alone in the world, because that's definitely how I felt as a director, with all of these, you know, 10 wonderful people coming and bringing all of their hearts into it. I have felt genuinely less alone from my own high school experiences.
That is incredible to hear. And what an amazing way to end off this podcast in what you just said, right? Don't feel alone, guys. When it comes to Be More Chill and just in the arts itself, know that people are rooting for you. If you guys feel like you've hit a rut in theater, you've hit something in film, you've hit things that are hard to bear, know that you're never ever alone in this world. And know that you guys can definitely go check out something that can hopefully give you a cathartic experience between October 4th and October 7th in Be More Chill from Penumbra Theatre. So before we go, as per always on the Little Thespian Podcast, we are going to shine a light on both Adrian and Aly. And then we unfortunately need to close the curtains with the curtain call and say goodbye. But first of all, shining a light on these two, I mean, Aly, you know, I'm just so proud of everything that you've done in regards to, since I've met you all the way till now. It continues to be such an amazing journey you go through and now have been directing, and it's just such an incredible thing. And I cannot wait to see what the amazing future you have in musical theater and in acting and everything that comes your way. It definitely is going to be a bright future ahead, and I cannot wait to see what Penumbra brings you, especially with musicals and potentially plays coming in your future. As for Adrian, I have just met you today, man, but
Hello.
you seem so passionate. You seem so loving. You seem so caring. And especially when it comes to theater, I know you're new to this, but know that we always love having new people join the community. And it's so touching when you're saying about Carrie and about how everything kind of led to this musical and seemingly kind of foreshadowed what would happen into Be More Chill and beyond. I'm so happy to have you a part of the community, and it's so great that you don't feel alone anymore. Know that we're always here for you, every actor, everything that comes your way in this amazing journey that we have in theater. Like I said, a community, a family that we bring. Know that you're never ever alone with us. So know that it is such a sad thing that I need to say now that I don't want to say goodbye, especially after saying just hello not too long ago and being back in the return chair. But unfortunately, guys, we have to sign off and say goodbye to Aly and Adrian in this curtain call of the Little Thespian Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Nice. The lights are off. The curtain has fallen, and it's time to say goodbye. Thank you all for joining us on the Little Thespian Podcast. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to ask, either down below or on any of our platforms. We'd like to thank Adrian and Aly for being on this episode of the Little Thespian Podcast, as we talk all things Penumbra Theatre, Be More Chill, and much, much more. If you guys have yet to get your tickets for Be More Chill, go downstairs and purchase them right now. You're not going to want to miss this amazing, amazing production of Be More Chill. You're also not going to want to miss the next episode of the Little Thespian Podcast, because it might be you on it. All you need to do is message us if you want to be on the Little Thespian Podcast, and we would love to have you to talk all things theater, all things acting, all things entertainment, and much, much more. We have been on a long hiatus, guys, but we're so happy to be back. And thank you guys so much for the amazing support that you guys continue to give us here on the podcast. It's been a long while, but your love continues to shine through, just like the amazing lights that come on to the podcast every time we hop back on. We want to thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing in advance. We are so happy to be continuing the Little Thespian Podcast, and it's because of your amazing support. So thank you guys so much in advance for liking, commenting, and subscribing to us here on YouTube. And if you guys are just listening to this, we appreciate you listening too. So thank you guys so much for watching, listening, and don't forget to always shine bright. Whether I'm here to tell you it or not, always shine bright. But we are looking forward to the future and the next episode of the Little Thespian Podcast. So this has been Matthew Crandall telling you guys to always shine bright. We'll see you all on the next Little Thespian Podcast.